Assalamu alaikum. There are 3 times in a day when it is forbidden or haram to pray our salat. These prohibited times are at the time of sunrise, at the time of sunset, and at the time of Jawwal. Now, let's try to discuss this in more detail. The prohibited time of sunrise starts from the time when the first portion of the sun can be seen on the eastern horizon, and it ends when the entire sun has become visible. It is safe to start praying after the sun has risen to the height of a spear. Means if you hold a spear and hold it in the way of the sun, then the distance that you can see below the sun and the horizon is that spear length. Nowadays, in most cases, this is regarded as about 12 minutes after the sun starts to rise. But to be on the safe side, we may consider it to be around 15 to 20 minutes. One important point to note here is that even if we have the time of praying only one rakat, that is around 2 or 3 minutes before the sun becomes visible to start rising up, we should pray one rakat of Fajr Salat in accordance to this hadith of Sahih al-Bukhari. The prohibited time of sunset starts from the time when the sun just touches the western horizon. It is also said that it starts when the sunlight becomes pale, and this time ends when the entire sun disappears. In most cases, this may be considered about 12 minutes before the sunset, but to be on the safe side, we should consider it to be around 15 to 20 minutes beforehand. We can set up a backup reminder to finish up our salat before we hit this time if the Asr salat is delayed for some reason. Considering the same hadith of Bukhari, if we somehow fail to start our salat on time and the prohibited time of sunset starts, we can still pray that particular Asr salat of that day even if it reaches the forbidden time. But this particular rule applies to the Asr prayer of that particular day, and we are not allowed to pray any other salat in that time. But it is always better to avoid this time. The time of Jawwal is the point of time when the sun is at its highest point, that is, when the shadow of an object reaches its shortest length, when the sun is right at top in its peak position. This is the time when the length of our shadow is almost zero. We should not start our prayer in a time when there is a possibility that the time within our salat coincides with this point of time. These 2 hadiths indicates that it is not recommended to perform any voluntary or nafil prayer after Fajr and Asr Salat, as it may hit the forbidden times. There is one strange hadith regarding the prohibited times of sunrise and sunset, where Ibn Umar reported that the Prophet ﷺ forbade us to pray at the time of the rising and setting of the sun, as it rises and sets between the horns of Shaitan. This particular hadith is sometimes used by the critics of Islam, who tends to prove that our Prophet was so unscientific to mention the huge sun to rise and set behind a small creature like Shaitan. Actually, the sun worshippers prostrate before the sun at sunrise and sunset. Shaitan has misled them to do the prostration to the sun. The worshippers think that they are prostrating to their sun god, but in fact, the invisible Shaitan stands in front of them and enjoys the scene of their prostration. So, being Muslims, we are not allowed to prostrate at that time. For example, suppose you are standing on a beach and photographing the sun inside your hand. It is the same way that the Shaitan enjoys the scene of the prostration of the sun worshippers. The hadith actually illustrates this sin which the critics of Islam fail to understand. Thank you. Hope you like this video. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and share this video to others, and obviously subscribe to this channel. Thanks.